Welcome, Fred, to Metallarium Pages. It's a great pleasure to talk with you about Opeth, this 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 new album, The Last Will and Testament, and more things related to the metal war in general. So we are starting by asking, how are you doing today? How is the band during the last couple of years? Because your previous album, In Cauda Venenum, was released in 2019.
Yeah, it's been a while. Well, to answer your first question, we're doing great. We just started to rehearse, the entire band.
Mm.
Now, Martin Mendes, he lives in Barcelona, so we flew up. So we did our second rehearsal today,
Mhm.
and it started to sound pretty good, I have to say. We are playing a couple of the new songs, and they sound pretty good already. So we have about, what is it, 4 more rehearsals. Then we head off to USA to do 16 shows in Canada.
Mhm.
So it's quite exciting, It's going to be a heavy set, and to get to your second part of the question, I mean, it's been a long break, but that has to do with the terrible COVID years, and also the fact that after everything was open again, we had a lot of touring obligations still to do. So we wanted to finish all the touring for In Cauda, and then we did the anniversary tours as well after that, because that's the way Michael works. He can only focus on one thing, and we needed to do all the touring we signed up for before we started working on a new album. And so basically we've been during the break, Michael did a TV series, and I was working a bit with Ghost, or quite a lot with Ghost, for the Imperial album during the pandemic. So we were, busy doing other stuff, but just waiting to get back on the road again with Opeth.
Okay, nice. So, talking about the composition of this new album, so when did you start writing songs for this new one? It was after the last album was released, or perhaps you start ready when, as you said, when the pandemic ends, and who knows, when you start writing songs for and perhaps one of these songs are coming out from or came out from the last era from the Opeth.
Well, beginning of last year or end of the year before that, there was a couple of ideas, but the first track we received was Paragraph 7 that we got in June, beginning of June last year. And I got the solo section from Michael. He wanted me to do a guitar solo, so I did that in my home studio. And I didn't hear the entire song. He just sent me the actual solo. So I was, dude, can I hear the song? But I got to hear it after the solo was done, but he still had some stuff arrangement to work on, so he didn't want to send anything out before it was done. But that was June last year. That's when we got the first final track, and then at the end of last year, everything was pretty much done, apart from the lyrics and also the concept weren't. The basic idea about the concept of the album was there from the beginning, but it kind of morphed on along with the writing process of the actual music. So I think the concept and the lyrics were done early this year, because we entered the studio in February this year at Rockfield in Wales for the third time. And yeah, that's about it.
Okay, interesting to know. So now, reading all the information that came with the promo digital, of this The Last Will and Testament, I saw that this album has is, well, according to Mikael, is an album that is a concept one, because there is relating for the post First World War, in post era World War. So who came with the idea to talk about this topic about the post-World War era too? It was you, it was Mikael. Who came with the idea to do this concept? And in general, what the songs means, because the songs is S1, S2, S3, and you can go. That.
Yeah, well, it's not about it takes place. The story takes place after World War One is finished, which was a decadent time. People are partying and celebrating, and and it takes place in England. But the story is about a last will and testament, about a cynic father, a patriarch guy,
Okay.
conservative, conservative, extremely rich, and it's about his children reading his testament. So in the first track, he's already dead. But it's not just a testament what they're gonna inherit in material ways or money or belongings. It's also a lot of stuff that gets revealed that they don't know about. An extra sister, for instance, that shows up because the patriarch had a love affair with one of the maids, and this girl with a skeleton disease and polio arrived to the world, and they didn't know about that. And there's a lot of twists and turns in the story. So it's a lot of poems from their father. So he's basically giving them information from the other side of the grave that will, it's a lot of twists and turns in the story, especially the last track. But I shouldn't reveal everything because the album isn't out yet. I think some people might want to save that, all the details, and make up their own kind of, image and
perspective,
ideas about the concept. I think, well, when I grew up, I used to, read Iron Maiden lyrics. That's how I kind of learned English when I was a kid. And I really thought it was exciting reading the lyrics while listening to the vinyl, So we're releasing in one copy that you're going to have the actual testament written on a testament paper. So the paragraphs are 1 to 7, a part of the last testament and will, which is also the album title. The last track on the album, which actually has a title, is called A Story Never Told. It's about the mother to this girl who, the maid mother of the girl, who reveals something that even not the father knows. Which takes place many years after when she's grown up. So now I shouldn't reveal anymore.
Okay. So for me, one of the things why the band decided to put 6 songs of this new album with the encrypted way to understand the song, because it's like S1 and you can go until S7. So what is like the
the S is not an S. It's actually it's a symbol for a paragraph.
Okay.
So if you want to make it easy, you could call them paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4, etc.
Okay.
That would explain. Our management and record label, they hated this idea because it's confused. It's not a very good business approach. It's confusing if you're going to be on a streaming service. That S, or actually the sign for a paragraph, that's what it is. It doesn't exist on the keyboard. So that creates a problem. So yeah, it's not really commercial thinking from our end,
Okay, okay. I understand.
But it makes sense, and it's easier if you call it paragraph 1, 2, 7.
Well, I'm okay with that because I came from the 80s, so I remember when I hear and saw it the first times, weird symbols on the cover art or weird symbols, and I always try to find what these symbols means. So that's why I'm asking, because for the new generation, I think it's a little annoying, but for me, it's get curious into this symbol of the paragraph. So that's why I'm asking. That's why.
Cool. Yeah, well, now it's good that you asked, because that will explain it to the people who watches your show, or listen to your. Is it a web magazine, right?
Yes, a website. Right.
So that's good that you asked that. I thank you. It probably will explain to some people. It will explain this a bit more.
Okay. So now this new album marks the return of the band to the growl things, because the last album with this topic, it was in Watershed. Then Heritage, Pale Communion, Sorceress, and Incauda Veneno. Always Mikael sings lyrically. So in this topic, so why the band decided to return The Last Will and Testament? And it has to do perhaps with the last gig in around the world that Opeth requests. Live by request, songs by request, perhaps because all songs at that time was I remember, and all gigs all people requested just the old era when Mikael sing songs guttural parts and with lyrical parts.
Yeah, actually, when we got these by request set list, there was a lot of people who the top songs were the songs from Damnation, which is more all soft songs with clean vocals, actually. But we figured we can't just go up there and play ballads, so we went for the top songs with the ingredients of the growl. But this time around, I noticed that Michael enjoyed doing the growls again, and that's very important. Then it serves a purpose to bring that element back. And me personally, I'm very happy with it because I really like that part of Opeth, and it also serves a purpose to the concept of the album, because all the voices on the album is meant to be from the father from the other side of the grave speaking. The clean vocals, the growl vocals, and the more theatrical clean vocals that Micah does, those kind of things that he does that he also hasn't done before, that type of clean voice. It's a little bit like King Diamond, have different type of voices. We have 3 different ones, basically. And also the narrations from Ian Anderson is also the father speaking. But we talked about it last shows we did, that maybe next album should be more heavier. And I was like, yeah, let's do that, But it had, since Michael's the creative engine in the band, he writes the majority. I write my solos and stuff like that. But it has to come from him. If anybody else tells him, like, you have to bring back the growls, it wouldn't happen. But we did 4 albums without it. I thought it was I think it's a good time to bring it back. It's not bringing it back to get more attention, but it is, of course, interesting when we watched Paragraph 1 coming out, and it started off kind of proggy, and you watch these YouTube films with reaction films, and it starts with the clean vocals, and everybody says, yeah, a bit like in Cauda maybe. And then when the growl comes, everybody looks really like shocked. And that's a great thing. That and it seems, well, I mean, the 2 tracks we released, people seem to like it a lot, and that's of course great,
Okay, interesting to know. So now I remember Mikael saying that he wasn't thinking to returning to gutturals or growls in the past. I read 2 interviews that said that, because he said that the metal scene or the metal fans is very close mind in this topic. They were expecting the same, these kind of topics. So, but after the 2 singles and hearing the growls again, the social media went crazy with the comments. As you can see, I read a lot of comments on YouTube. They're back with the growl. Mikael is still singing with the growl, etc., etc. You can see that on YouTube. That's normal. So, how was the reception of the return to the good rolls inside of the band about these comments? So, how did the band take the reception of these comments that the old sound of the Opeth is back?
Yeah, well, to us it's not that big deal, because we have the growls every live show. It's always, we always embraced it, even not on the albums, but we always play the old stuff. So it's not shocking for us. It's just that we brought back that element on this album, and it serves a purpose. And we wanted to do something more heavier, more evil sounding than ever. That's always the goal. But me personally, I really welcomed it. I thought it was a great idea to go back to the growls for this album. And it felt, also having a new drummer coming in, it felt kind of fresh. The drum parts are quite extreme. It's very difficult drum parts to learn. And Walter, our new drummer, he's into more extreme metal only, so it felt great to bring it back, like coming home. But also, I think the album is not going back. For us, it's not. You also have a lot of the progginess,
Yeah.
It's a good combination of the old Opeth and the past 4 albums, if you put it that way. But also, to me, it's a giant step forward, because the song structures are more intense. The songs are a bit... Hold on, somebody's calling.
Okay.
Yeah. sorry. Yeah, the songs are more compressed, more intense, and slightly shorter, but there's even more ingredients, you know.
Okay.
So I think it's a pretty extreme album coming from us, this one. But then again, we always want to, you know, try to be unpredictable for every album. That's a kind of a goal.
Oh, oh, okay, okay, okay. I understand. So now, talking about now, I saw that the promotion of this new album. We will speak a little about the promotion of this new one. So, what kind of plans do you have to promote this, The Last Will and Testament? I saw that you will embark tours, as you said, in Canada. Perhaps you will embark more tours with this new album because I think this album will completely successful because I completely hear it. Return to the past, still maintain the progressive as you said, and is still going in a different ways as Opeth it is, as always. So what kind of plans do you have for this new album? Videos? Perhaps you will release a video from this album.
Yeah, we're talking about that. Now we're doing this 3-week tour. And then when we get back home, we have a gap to where we're gonna do more promotion. We've done quite a lot of promotion already. Me and Michael we've been to Paris, London, and we also spent some time in Germany meeting lots of different journalists from Europe. The entire band went down to the label, and I think I already done maybe 60, 65 interviews so far. So it's quite a lot. And you're the first for tonight, but it's 2 more tonight. But it takes a lot of your time because I need to play guitar. That's what I do. But it's also appreciated that the interest is so high for the band, of course. But we still have a lot of promo to do after US tour, and of course there's going to be tons of stuff to do there. But we're talking about doing a proper video up on the album that will be out on the album release. Yes. So I hope that's probably will happen before we release the album. It would make sense. Absolutely. I think it's about time to do. I'm kind of tired of all these lyric videos, even though they develop, they get more and more like almost like a proper video, but we need to do like a real video, you know.
Well, okay.
So that's a good idea. I'll bring that to the table.
Okay.
But, we're doing a European tour in February. Then there's a lot of more tours being on the table right now. That's not official yet, but it's talk about South America, Australia, and another run in Europe, because we're not playing everywhere, because we only do 3-week tours. That's a rule we have because of families, and we're fortunate in that way. We don't have to do longer tours, but it's also for the band's longevity. If we overdo it, it might destroy the band. You know, we need those kind of things. We're getting older, apart from our drummer. But I think it's important. We used to do 7-8 weeks, and if you have family, many of us already went through divorces. So, but there's going to be a lot of touring. I can't say any dates or stuff that's not confirmed. They will get angry at me, but there's a lot of different festivals next summer we're looking at, and it's going to be quite a lot of touring.
Okay. Other details tokens about now about your entrance in the band in 2007 or 2006. So what is your point of view about being a member a Opeth's band? Because Opeth's a band that break the change or break the limits into the metal since the Blackwater Park, since a lot of bands, a lot of albums in the 90s. So now how was your perspective change since you are an outsider of the band before you entered the band 2007 2006, and now your perspective that into your band?
Yeah, I mean, I was really happy when I got the offer, of course, to join the band, because I was a fan of the band also. And I played with Arch Enemy before, and we were touring together. So we did the tour with Megadeth in America and Lamb of God, I remember, and Overkill. And we were hanging out a lot. We bonded. We became friends. me, Axe, and Mendes, and Michael, of course. But I knew Michael a little bit before. But of course, when I got the gig, it was a challenge also, because I had to really dig into the Opeth, basically the way Michael writes songs, his way of playing riffs, and also playing a more acoustic finger picking parts. And there was a lot of things I needed to get into my DNA, which I loved, because it was challenging, of course, but challenge leads to development, which is good. You know, I always try to get better as a musician. Some people might be happy with a bag of tricks, but as far as I'm concerned, you can always get better, you know. So, well, it's been a great ride so far, and it's like 17 years now, right? And it's a long time.
Yes.
And it's a part of me now, you know. I do so much work for Opeth, not just doing interviews, but gear and touring and, you know, demoing and recording, and it's a big part of my life, you know. And it's great. We're still good friends, you know. So, and that is very important if we're going to be living in a tight tour bus and everything. And we still have fun, you know. When we get off the stage, we laugh, we have a couple of beers, you know, hangouts, and we even go to the pub together when we're back home now and then, you know. So
Oh, okay. Well, as you said, you came from a different different perspective, because you came from Arch Enemy as the guitars of Arch Enemy one era. So now, how was your changed method to compose music? Because Arch Enemy is more melodic, more death metal, so sometimes more heavy, but Opeth is more progressive, more technical stuff, because Opeth use a lot of techniques, techniques into the music in general. So how many things changed in your way of composing music since you play as a death metal musician and now you are a progressive metal musician?
well, I've been fortunate, because before Arch Enemy, you know, when I was a kid, I was playing with a band called Talisman. And that was with Jeff Scott Soda and Marcel, who used to play with Yngwie Malmsteen in Rising Force. And that band had a lot of tricky solos, and it was more melodic, hard rock, not super metal, but it was hard rock with tons of solos and
With
all this
shred.
unison, fast stuff, you know, faster stuff than Opeth does. But in a very different way, more kind of almost poppy way of writing songs, which I wasn't a big fan of. Then I also played in a doom metal band called Crux with Leif from Candlemass, and that was totally different as well. And then I was for a while in Tiamat, which is more gothic, doomy, the early stuff is kind of death metal. You know, so I've been playing, and I've been working with John Norum, the guitarist from Europe, and I've also been playing with Biff Byford from Saxon, which is traditional metal. So I've done a lot of different stuff within hard rock and metal and death metal, which is very cool. But the thing that I liked with Opeth, that there are no rules in the compositions. It's so much more progressive. And when I joined the band, that altered my way of looking at how to write a song. I was kind of into that before. I mean, I was into like Nevermore and stuff like that. Not the basic song idea, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, blah, blah, blah. It's just that you want unexpected things to happen along the song. But still, that's the difficult part with that. You can do a song that has 12 different songs within it, but to find a thread that ties it all together is the hard part, which I think Michael is really good at. So it was truly inspiring, and it was also some type of freedom how to approach writing music when joining Opeth. Like, well, you can just do whatever you want to do, really, as long as it works out and it's interesting to listen to the entire way.
We are very close to this interview, Fredrik, and one thing for you, as I remember when I hear for the first time Opeth, I remember as you are the same because I'm 44 years old. So I remember when I hear Orchid, Morning Rise, My Arms or Curious, and the list going on. And the media at that moment tried to label the band as a progressive death metal band.
Yeah.
The media is always be crazy when they hear just growls and hear this progressive. Yes, it's progressive death metal. Death metal. At that moment, the media went crazy, saying Opeth plays progressive death metal. Well, it's like Cynic in the US, progressive death metal just for the growls. But when you enter to the concept, it's more progressive than death metal because you don't have that riffs from Obituary, from Doom, that is like a punch in the face. Like a punch in the face. Usually death metal is like that. So for you now, we have a lot of bands that are playing now progressive death metal, technical death metal. I don't know, a lot of bands playing that style. So how was change your perspective to understand the progressive metal when you are on the 90s and now you are on one of the first band that plays progressive death metal according to the media?
Well, I mean, I appreciate, like more like Entombed and stuff like that, and also Opeth. I mean, listen to that. And Voivodes, for instance, is like an early inspiration for Opeth, the more dissonant type of chords and stuff like that. So, I mean, I don't really look at it as progressive. I look at it as just songs, really, but they're different. Like when I'm learning the songs, I just take one riff at a time and then tie it together and just try to put it into my DNA. For me, it's just like music, really. It's. But I understand what you mean. It is progressive. Maybe means that it has no limits, no rules. More like that. It's more open. You can kind of do what you want. You can, expand things a bit more. It's not within a certain frame,
Okay.
which I think Opeth is. Yeah, it's kind of.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a bit like a journey when you listen to it, hopefully.
Okay. So in this case, and one of the last questions for this interview, Fredrik, as you can see, many things change according to the social media because now the social media presents. So now you can see that now the metal is more comprehensible or understandable for the world. As you remember, in the 80s or 70s, 80s, and 90s, the metal has this kind of mysterious there, darkness, fear. Because I remember when I walk in the streets in the 90s with my t-shirts of Cannibal Corpse, the people cross the street and to the other side. So that's a curious thing. But now there's no way for this. And I remember that I know that you remember that when you hear the name of Brujeria from US, and you think that they were narco-satanic people, they work in drugs, this kind of stuff, something very, 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 very mysterious for this. Or when you saw the cover arts from King Diamond at that moment, and you see that demons, vampires, and you think that King Diamond live in a castle with demons and vampires. That's the curious thing for all we have at that moment. That's very interesting for us. But now there is no mystery curiosity that the metal gives you on a legend general level. What's your point of view about this move away from the fear, mystery, or curiosity that the metal had before, and now everything is comprehensible?
I agree with you. It was more exciting when, with social media, everything gets, demystified a little bit. We try to stay away from social media with Opeth to maintain that kind of thing, but it's kind of impossible now. But we don't post every time we go to the bathroom or buy a piece of bread or something like that, like some people do. We try to be, well, we have a new drummer now. He's all about the social media because he's 30 years old only. But I agree. When I was young, I thought like King Diamond, he's a proper Satanist, and I heard stories that books are flying around in his house, and of course that was a lot of mythical stuff with it. And I remember in school when I played Fast as a Shark to my teacher because it had a soft intro, she got terrified and turned off the music, and it felt very rebellious, dangerous and rebellious. And I still have that kind of mindset. It should be like that. And sometimes it feels rebellious when you play in certain places. But yeah, I think that's important to try to maintain it. But I guess today, that's the way the industry is. Everybody needs to promote what they're doing, and they have to be posting stuff and, you know, doing a lot of interviews. You can't just refuse doing interviews. Maybe you can. Should try it, but then I get to talk to you. But I know what you mean, and I think I agree with you that it's so much social media, and we live in a most faster society, which affect everything. It's just look at the kids; they just sit obsessed with their screens all the time. I'm trying to get my daughter off the screen all the time. It's a big hassle.
Okay. And one of the last question for this interview. As this album has a duration of 50 minutes, well, there's a long way to understand. People like me understand this kind of music because it has 45 minutes, 50 minutes, 65 minutes. I know. I know albums from progressive era from 70s or 80s that an hour and a half, long wait. But now there is a new movement or retro movement to hear just singles, as you can see according to Spotify or according to digital platforms, because that is now the way just to understand this kind of, well, in general, the music just by singles. So what motivates you to create a long album in an era that prefers just to hear just singles now?
Yeah, well, we just ignore it. The album is everything, and we don't think in commercial terms. For us, it's a journey from the first song to the last song, and it will be as long as it needs to be, but not too long if it's not good enough. It has to be good, you know.
Yeah. I understand. Well, Fredrik, we come to the sad moment of this interview. I hope you enjoyed this interview as I did, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for your good questions. I like your questions.
Thank you very much for this. This last album, the last Will and Testament. The crazy of the fans will be crazy for this album because return to the old era with new era, mix all eras with Opeth. I really enjoy this album, really. So
Thank you.
Maybe you have something to add to your Latin fans and obviously Metallerium followers.
Well, we're looking forward for the album to come out on the 22nd of November. And most of all, looking forward to see what people think about it, of course, but also get out there and play songs live.